Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel. This is Business Connections Live with Steve Hyland.
Hello there and welcome to Business Connections Live, the program for entrepreneurs, SMEs and business owners. Now, on today's show, we're going to be looking at our outdated work practices and the future of the office. If you're going in on a regular basis and you're seeing that there are hot desks everywhere, maybe you're working in one of the companies actually that is a little bit forward thinking. Or maybe you're going in and it's the same old, and maybe your company isn't embracing the future as it should be. The technology is out there. There's lots of great things that can help businesses to succeed, but is your business actually benefiting from it at the moment? My guest on today's show is Jason Downs. He's the Managing Director of a company I'm sure you've heard of, Powwow Now, the conference call service providers. Jason, great to have you with us today. Thank you very much for coming in. For people that don't know anything about Powwow Now, who are you? What do you do?
Right, well, I'm Jason Downs, I'm the Managing Director, and what Powwow Now does, it's Europe's fastest growing conference call company. So that could be anything from an audio telephone call where you're just trying to get people together wherever they are. Could be in different countries, different locations, so you can have a business meeting, business conversation anywhere in the world.
Do you think this whole area of comms and communication is changing these days? And are we getting it right, or are we still trying to just change old technology to make it fit for today's world?
Well, I think often in Britain we do a lot of the right things but maybe don't go quite quick enough. So the technology is absolutely out there. You used to have these big video room conversations and it was a very expensive way to communicate, so only the very biggest companies could really have these remote meetings. But now it's software driven. There's services like iMeet by Powwow Now, and you can actually have some great meetings. You can see people, you can hear people, share files, chat, so you do not have to be restricted in the same ways you used to be. There's no need to have offices, there's no need to have such rigid hours. And all
the landowners now, all the people that rent out offices are going, no, we don't want to be hearing this. How long's Powwow Now been going?
Just over 12 years.
And a company is growing all the time, I take it.
Literally, it started with no customers, no minutes. That's how we measure our business, through minutes, and it's grown dramatically over that time.
When you talk about the future office, the office that is based around tech, are you advocates yourself, or are you people that have one mantra that you say to the public, but you're still quite traditional in the way you operate? Or do you actually encompass and embrace everything that you preach?
I think it's about balance. It's and depending on your organisation will be depending how you have that balance. For our organisation, we make sure, for example, our customer service team are always available in core customer service opening hours and are physically, the majority of them are in the office. Not everybody, but most of them. Whilst we have some of our developers, the last thing we need them to be is in the office every day. The last thing we need them doing is actually working a UK time zone, because a lot of the work they do is with India and America. So actually we've got people working totally different shift patterns because it's right for them and it's right for our customers.
When people approach Powwow Now, they're obviously looking for a solution to a problem that they've got. They obviously want some form of conference calling. What do you think the big mistakes are that people are expecting out of the technology that you provide?
I think it's that balance again. Remote work meetings are great, but you do sometimes need to have that face-to-face. So don't expect it to replace every single one of your meetings, every single thing in your organisation. It's about that balance. Whatever mistakes they're doing, overcomplicating it, trying to sign up to a contract when you don't need to. Just, try the service.
That's the way it is, isn't it? We always look to try to complicate something to make it even harder than it is. Your background's very interesting because it isn't just the tech end of the market that you've been in. You understand what it's like to be out there. You're a bit of a salesman. There's a bit of that in you. But you worked for Stables for a number of years as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a number of years in office supplies. And I guess that industry has been hit harder than many in terms of how technology has come on, in terms of forever talking about paperless office, very service-led, good business, good company. But I wanted personally a change, wanted to move absolutely into tech and wanted to run a smaller business.
If there was one thing that you could say to our viewers who are watching today that would maybe revolutionise the way that they do business by utilising the technology that's available out there, what would be your recommendation to them? This is not, you know, not the corporate line, but more Jason's line. What would be the one piece of advice if you were a consultant and you were saying, you know, really, to make things work better, to increase that return on investment, you should really be considering and doing this?
Yeah, I would urge people to be more flexible in everything they do, from the hours they work to the technology they use to the mindset. So that's what I would urge and talk through, is all about flexibility.
And do you think a lot of UK businesses aren't that flexible? Are they just a little bit too rigid, do you feel?
I think there's some great examples of really good growth-orientated businesses that are hugely flexible. They don't work to a standard hours, they don't work in terms of locations, they invest their money in their customers, marketing, tech, systems rather than offices. But guess what? The other end of that is you go on the tube today, you go on the train today, you go on the M25 today, and it's just gridlock because everybody's going to get to work for 9 o'clock, or in some cases 20 past 9 because I'm late again. So yeah, it's a mixture of some great examples and some horrific examples of just total inefficiencies.
Well, go on then. Just give us the worst that you've seen then.
I go back to that travel. It's why are we expecting everybody to get in for 9 o'clock on a Monday morning? All we get is grumpy people.
My team are saying here, yeah. Why are we expecting that? But you're right. So are we living with a bygone traditional, do you think? There's 9 to 5 kind of thing?
Yeah, literally, the people joining the workplace are expecting and wanting something different. They're not expecting to have this rigid lifestyle. Likewise, they're probably more flexible about working when they're away on holiday. But they're not wanting to just say, I have to do 9 to 5. They might want to go to the gym first thing. They might want to take the kids to school first thing. And it's that flexibility which will be the differentiator to become employees of choice.
Is there a danger that we end up with a never turn off society? I don't know, you're probably not old enough, he says, but I remember back to the days when you could get in your car and you were off the grid at that point. You'd be driving from A to B and you were not contactable. You were out of it. You would only find out what disasters had happened when you arrived at your destination. Is there not a danger that what we're doing is that people are online, on the grid, all the time?
I think sadly I am old enough, so I do remember first going out and I had to make sure I had my 10p's and my for the phone, because that's what you had. You had a pay phone was your communication, and it was an absolute nightmare when you go into meetings. If you suddenly reading your map, got lost, need to phone and ask directions, you just have to, that's just what it was. And you're right, you were absolutely off the grid. And you could go days without speaking to people back at head office unless you chose to. And they'd send you things in the post, or you'd get a fax. Yeah, but now it's very different. Is it a danger? I think it's just how you've just got to equip yourself to it. Your social feeds that you have, be it Facebook or LinkedIn, are they for your personal use or are they for your business, or is it actually all a bit clouded into one?
Well, before we get down to what small businesses can actually do to actually to grow their own business and to be more successful, to succeed by using the technology that's out there. What about you personally then? Are you somebody that will use social media? Do you use it a lot? Or do you think there is a time and a place for social media? Or is it something that businesses should do or they shouldn't do? What's your feelings on social?
I think it always depends on you as an individual and your business.
Oh, no, you're fudging the answer now.
I was an early adopter of LinkedIn, been buying those days of a corporate, and found it a great tool for business and keeping connected. I was a fairly late adopter into Facebook. My partner Lorraine got me into that, and now it's great in terms of sharing photos of the kids, reconnecting with some friends I lost contact with in Australia. I don't do a huge amount on Twitter, a bit more business. A mixture within that change personally, but depending on your business will depend on your customer what you need to do.
Do you think we expect too much then from all the technologies that we're talking about the social media platforms? Are we expecting too much from them? Do small businesses now see that as being fundamentally part of their main marketing, and maybe are losing some of the more traditional skills of how to go out and promote your business?
I think again it depends on the business there. There's no tools out there that are suddenly going to be your secret success, that if only I do this, I'm suddenly going to be incredibly successful. It still comes down to, have I got a good product and a good service? Do I listen to my customers? And do I follow through on what I said I was going to do? And is that new or is that old?
It's just interesting, isn't it? Because here you are, you're a high-tech company, but you are using traditional media to promote the service.
Absolutely.
Is it a case of getting it in front of eyeballs? And do you think businesses sometimes miss the fact that if they don't see you, this is the old radio expression, if they don't see you, they won't hear you? Is it very much a case of that?
Well, I'm hoping, Steve, that means you have actually heard our radio campaign.
I have actually, yeah, all the time.
Fantastic. Is that good or bad? That's what I'm trying to work out now.
The jury is out on whether it's... No, it's a good campaign, and having worked in radio, I think businesses should actually be looking at radio campaigns. You've got to understand, though, that you've got to put an investment into it to get the return on it, and you can't just have one spot at some obscure time during the day hoping that's going to generate revenue. I mean, yours is quite a heavy campaign, isn't it, that you're using? But once again, have you seen an uplift from that kind of traditional radio advertising?
We do a balanced set of our marketing. So we have the traditional B2B radio, which we still think you get a good return on your investment you do. It's still, you can reach a lot of ears. You can get your brand out there and your message quite strongly, but we do a lot on social. We do a lot of other brand advertising. It's really just having that whole mixture of your marketing program. And depending on your business, again, will depend what's right for you. But we found it always works. When we're on campaign, as we call it, when we're in the tubes, when we're on the taxis, when we're on radio, we do see more people coming to our website. And if they come to the website, they typically sign up. And if they start using our services, they become loyal customers. They do.
All right, listen, we're going to be talking a little bit more to Jason in just a few moments' time. Jason Downs, MD of Powwow, now the conference call service providers. If you've never heard of them, you won't give you all the links and whatever. You can find out a bit more about them a little bit later on. But we are talking about how tech is going to be affecting a business maybe just like yours. Depending on what your business is, of course, there are a lot of high-tech businesses out there that understand what the technology is, but do we sometimes get blinded by using the very technology that we're developing ourselves? And what about the companies that aren't in the tech market? Is it an opportunity for them to start utilising the technology to make their business more efficient? That's all to come on this edition of Business Connections Live. And it's going to be an interesting show. We've got a whole pile of notes here, in fact, actually. I noticed you mentioned there LinkedIn. How good did you find LinkedIn, by the way?
Well, it helped me see you and understand a little bit more about you, Steve, in terms of preparation for today. So I think it's actually gone from strength to strength in terms of helping you connect with a wider audience. Like all things, guess what? There's some bad examples of people using it. So you get a lot of people who just connect for the sake of it, use it sometimes more like Facebook.
That is the trouble, isn't it? With poor old LinkedIn at the moment. It's a bit like the professional Facebook at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's something you've got to be careful of, but again, you can deselect. This day and age, you don't have to look at everything. You can scan through it incredibly quickly, and you become pretty aware about the people you want to disconnect from, who are misusing it. So I'd just be ruthless with who you want to be connected with. Don't accept people you don't want to, and actually deselect those that if you look at it and think they're just wasting your time.
Well, it's always interesting because we find Facebook, or LinkedIn rather, really interesting. On last week's programme, we spoke to Greg Cooper from Front of Mind Coaching. We've done a number of programmes when it comes to looking at how to maximise your return on LinkedIn, how you get some results to come back from it. Some of the programmes are up there in the 11,000 and 12,000 mark of views. If you're not using LinkedIn, you really should be. But the thing about LinkedIn is it isn't one of those one-hit wonders. You can't just go in there and just put your profile up, do a great summary, and then walk away and leave it. What you need to do is you need to be tickling it all the time. You need to be going back. You need to be getting engaged. Like all social media, the clue is in the word social. You've got to be talking on it. You've got to be talking to people, interacting with them, commenting on what they're doing. And if you do a little bit of an investment into LinkedIn, then you're going to get a return back. Last week's program, we looked at all the different areas that you should be considering. Like, for instance, does your business need a company page? Really interesting answer to that one. Greg Cooper was my guest on last week's edition of Business Connections Live. My guest on today's show is Greg Cooper from Front of Mind Coaching, and he's going to be revealing all about how you should go about using LinkedIn in your business.
Well, LinkedIn was launched in 2003, so now it's very much more also a networking, marketing opportunity. It's not a selling platform, it's a relationship building platform. They've made some very big changes to groups actually, because they've now got, there are only two types of groups, and all there's standard groups and unlisted groups. Being found is very important, and LinkedIn these days is your professional shop window. So customers and potential employers, it's the first place they will go to check you out. Keywords are important in LinkedIn. So in your summary, for example, you need to have all the keywords that you'd like to be found for by the search engines, but also things like your photograph. So the photograph psychologically is the first place where you start to build a relationship with the person viewing your profile. Now, another thing that people can do is if you look at underneath my name, that line is called the professional headline. Now, it defaults to the person's job title. Company page. When people first go onto LinkedIn, many businesses think, I've got to get my company page together. This is where it's all going to happen. If you're a small or medium-sized business, then it's a much more limited opportunity. The opportunities are actually going to come from your individual profile. But I get much more coverage from my posts from my profile page. So it's a bit of a misunderstanding that a lot of small businesses have. The company page, yes, you should have one. Yes, you should fill it out, and yes, you should put posts on there. But where the real business happens is on your personal profile page and through the networking that you do, through your network that you build up. Having a company page gives you access to LinkedIn advertising. You have to have a company page in order to do LinkedIn advertising. So that is the other reason to have a company page. Who viewed your profile? If you have a paid account, and this is probably one of the best reasons to have a paid account, you can see 90 days worth of your previous profile viewers. If you have a free account, you only get to see the last 5. So I'd say, hi John, I noticed you dropped by my profile the other day. It was probably a casual visit, but I just thought I'd ask, is there anything I can help with? 95% of people are fine with the free account. But if you're in a sales or business development role, then you almost certainly should have a paid account. I'm going to tell you one of the secrets of LinkedIn that people often don't come across, and that is something called structured serendipity. Generally, you want to connect as broadly as you can, as long as it's relevant, and then go hang out in the places where your customers and potential customers are to be found, and in many cases that will be in particular groups. The bottom line is, the more people in your network, the more opportunities that you will find, and the more opportunities will find you. Well, there is a category of member on LinkedIn called a lion, capital L-I-O-N, and they all have lion written on their profile somewhere quite prominently. And what that means is they're a LinkedIn open networker. They will link with anybody indiscriminately. What we really need in our network is a network of people who resonate with what we do and what we can offer and what we talk about. Well, the first thing is, if you are doing business locally, then there'll be lots of local businesses. For example, the Chamber of Commerce in most areas has a very thriving one to join. More generically, small business, Staples sponsor a group, Staples Small Business. That's another group worth joining. But specifically looking at where you're going to meet your customers, then at the bottom of everybody's profile, they list the groups that they're in. Well, my name's Greg Cooper. I'm a LinkedIn specialist. I'm from Front of Mind Coaching. And there are 3 things I'd say with LinkedIn. One is that it is your professional shop window. It's where your customers and potential employees will go to check you out. There are 20 million members in the UK now. Secondly, it's all about networking. It's about building a relevant network. And thirdly, it's about engaging with that network. Being active, going out and engaging with a network. If you go to a party and you sit in the corner, nothing really happens. So, just like that on LinkedIn, you have to go and make things happen. So those are the key points that I would say.
Greg Cooper there. Great show, actually. If you do get an opportunity, please do watch it. Fascinating insight into how you should be using LinkedIn. And the thing to remember, I think, about LinkedIn, as we were discussing before, is that if you've got to invest in it. If you invest into LinkedIn, then LinkedIn will actually be able to help your business. And I suppose that fits very nicely into what we're talking about today. It's all about using the appropriate technology at the appropriate time. My guest on today's show is Jason Downs, Managing Director of Powwow Now, the conference call service provider. Jason, you do a lot of talking about how technology is changing businesses that are out there. But, you know, the methods and the practices businesses still employ which are outdated in your opinion. What are businesses out there doing that they shouldn't really be doing? Or if they are doing them, then they need to take a long, strong look at themselves.
I guess I look at, you know, the future workplace maybe for the eyes of my children. So my eldest is 14 years old and my youngest is only 6 months. So I'm sort of thinking, as a 14-year-old going into the workplace, what will I be looking into? And what wouldn't I want? And I look at Jack and think, I really wouldn't want to be told every single day I'm going in 9 till 5. I wouldn't.
You've got a real hang-up about this, haven't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. The thing is, I can't imagine Jack going onto the train and spending hours commuting, because he'd be thinking, well, hang on, what I'd much prefer to do first thing in the morning is do some sport. So I look at it through there, that actually that whole rigidness is a bit nuts, and I just don't get it, and I passionately don't get it, because I just don't think it works for people. You've got to free up people to work when they're best. Some people are great at late, some people are great in mornings. And so your talent, which is all any business is about a combination of the talent of people, you're restricting that talent. And I look at my youngest boy, Howie, and I'm thinking, cool, he could actually do some really good stuff early in the morning, but it'd wane as he goes on through the day. So actually, Harry would be great starting early, whilst Jack probably would be better starting late. So and that's using talent, and I'm just looking through the eyes of my two oldest boys to see how they go through that. And then I look at.
We sometimes forget to look through the eyes of our employees.
Oh, absolutely. So one, I think that's nuts. The other one is when I look at how you invest in your company to grow. When you just talked about LinkedIn, that's an investment, and if you do it right, you are actually investing quite a lot in the software. You're investing a lot in the training, and you don't just do it once, you continue to invest. So if you think about something like that, would I prefer to equip your sales teams, your marketing teams with new technology, new software, or would I prefer to have a bit more office space so every person can sit at a desk? And I'm thinking, well, personally, I'd much prefer to invest in tech and marketing and sales growth engines rather than I would in terms of fixed, stable office space. So that's just, you know, ours, offices, is just an example of that.
So why do you think we don't go down that route? Is it because that maybe some employers don't trust their staff?
I think it's 100% that. I think they do. And still, if you think about typical British, and I'm not talking about the great entrepreneurs out there, but typical British dull business out there with very male-dominated business managers and business leaders, probably still average age at best in 40s, probably more likely in 50s. And it's still, some of that background is the command and control historically. So if I can't see somebody, if I can't control them, and actually, bizarrely, again, that group of people often are having their meeting circuit with just a tight few people, and actually not the people you should be having your meetings with, who are closest to your customer or closest to the tech.
There is sometimes the argument, though, isn't it, that if you are together as a group of people, and maybe the office kind of areas that we've got these days are beginning to actually go against that. But if you've got a group of people that are working collectively together in a single place, you then get ideas that will grow like a tree in the middle. You know, and it'll all come to fruition. And sometimes when you've got somebody who is working at home, a lot of people do find working in isolation to be quite difficult. How do you combat that?
Again, if I think about what we do at Powwow Now, we have a lot of people who their default is I'm home based. It doesn't mean they're out of mind, out of sight. What you can do is, you know, you can connect with them every single day. So it's interesting, when somebody comes into work, you typically will say good morning to them, because you see them. Many businesses
in a
out
kind
there.
of a surprise way.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, absolutely. But no, not at all. But literally, you will communicate to people who you're sat next to. That's just normal human dynamics. And yet, if a member of your team happens to be based somewhere else, because that's what's best for them, you can still video call them in first thing in the morning. You can still text them. You can still message them. You can still share your files with them. So there's no reason why they need to be out of sight and be out of mind. The technology is there to link it all together. But the other side of it is absolutely, you do need to build teams. You do need to have people getting together. So last Friday we had one of our all hands meetings. So everybody in the company, either virtually or physically, most people came physically. We ran a company update meeting. What you couldn't do virtually is the guys then and girls went to the pub. So those that were in the office were all together in the pub. Absolutely. Together. So I think it's important, again, go back to that balance that you're doing just good business practices.
So what do you see the office workspace looking like then in, shall we say, 5 to 10 years' time? Is it going to be a smaller workspace? Will it be a workspace at all, or will it be everybody working from their virtual offices, and really the office workspace, not only the technology being in the cloud, but really the office workspace being in the cloud?
I think literally many companies are there already in terms of what they've actually set up, and I think those role model entrepreneurs who are, a lot of them are driving the growth of Britain. It will be those types of companies that will emerge and just get bigger and stronger. So what would I see those businesses look like when I look at some of our customers, how they work? They have smaller office space. They might actually be spending the same amount of money, but what they've actually done is got the best location to attract talent or to be with their customers. So actually, I think you may bizarrely find that the cost per square feet is still high, but actually they've decided, I've got 100 people or I've got 20 people, but I'll only seat a third of them. And that everybody will be flexible, as in very few people have a fixed desk to work to.
So hot
old
desking
school.
then, effectively?
Yeah, but I'm not sure it's hot desking. You don't call your sofa at home a hot sofa. It's just for everybody to have, isn't it? Yeah. You might have a favourite chair, but typically it's there for everybody. So I would look at it like that. So in terms of the physical office environment will change. I think there'll be more people who will, in just standard, will be a more fluid working week. In terms of the hours they work. There'll be more companies that will embrace 4-day weeks because actually they can again see the value of that extra 3-day weekends. There'll just be more freedom to people to do what's right, and you measure them on the output, not on the input. So it's not the clocking in system, it's the show me what you produce at the end of the week, the end of the month, the end of the year, and we're managed by that output rather than this old-fashioned way of, hours in. It's all about what we produce at the end of it.
Well, do you think this is going to be a suitable work practice then for all sizes of company? I mean, we're talking to the likes of SMEs and entrepreneurs, solopreneurs and entrepreneurs. I can see actually really embracing this tech and this kind of philosophy when it comes to the way that you would have your business. But what about the large multinationals? I know some of them are doing something very similar to this, but do you think there is a particular size of company that this would be more suitable for?
I think it's all about mindset, and it's all about the leadership and the culture of the business. I don't think the size, the industry or anything has anything to do with it, in my opinion. It's about having the mindset and the trust in people that you can have more flexibility because I trust you, and making sure you equip your people and your business with the right technology. I guess a flip side of this, my sister-in-law, and apologies for using family as a reference, but I always think that's real people, real situation. She works in the public sector, and they've got this big push at the moment, please can you work from home more? Why do we work from home more? Because I haven't got enough office space for you. What they don't do is invest in the kit. So actually they've got a group of people who now can't actually work from home, but haven't got any space in the office because they haven't invested in the people, which often sadly is where the government
do you
sector
think
falls
there's
down.
any industries, in your opinion, that do still need to work together? You look at the BBC on the opening to the BBC News, and you think, I really wouldn't want to work in that news environment, looking at it, because it looks like everybody's on top of everybody. But do you think there are still organisations or business types that still do need to have that physical presence?
I think the physical presence does help from time to time, but don't underestimate how technology connects you. You don't have to have physical touch to be communicated with. And if you think, if I can see you, if I can share my information with you, why can't I do that? And I look at, again, young people who have grown up now with multiple chat systems on their phone or on their tablet, multiple video systems where they chat and just communicate with their friends to arrange meetups. They're expecting that in the workplace. So you can have a great conversation, and that's what meetings are, is conversations. You can share ideas. You can do that through the technology. We don't have to be physically together all the time. Sometimes you must be, sometimes you don't need to.
What about the technology itself actually helping small businesses? You've alluded to it there. Do you think that small businesses can actually gain a bit of a foothold? They can take maybe a winning edge when they're competing against large companies by using the technology?
Oh, absolutely. I think that is a great level playing field now. So if you want to be able to, have a wider footprint out there, and I look at some of our customers, and they've done European expansion now that they wouldn't have previously done because they'd be worried about managing their remote people. So they've got agents maybe in France or agents in Italy, and what they're finding now, because they can see them every week through a video conference call, because they can share their pipelines and opportunity assessment through screen share, they're finding they can manage these people remotely without having to think, oh no, they're miles away from me, I'm going to have to fly there. But actually that's yet more investment, more cost into my business, and actually all I want to do is focus my energies on my customers.
But conversely, I suppose when it comes to signing the deal, you will have to stand there face to face, eyeball to eyeball, and shake hands with them and sign that bit of paper. There is still a place for that, though.
Oh, of course there is, but again, you can, multi-documents get electronically signed. Why can't we be so engaging when we see each other remotely? Why do we have to physically shake hands? Why can't we virtually shake hands?
Now, is this a mantra that you believe in and do, or is it something that you believe is the way that we will develop and we will end up doing? Is that how you as a business work as well? You've got this in the cloud, nearly office space, nearly in the cloud day-to-day working as well. Is that how Power Now actually operates?
Actually, Power Now grows in size every 4 years. It doubles. So it's a rapidly growing organisation. We've got no plans, no desire to increase our office space, even though our employee base will grow. When we had the tube strikes not long ago, caused havoc on everybody. We ran our business remotely, and not one single customer was impacted by the tube strikes. And we're a Richmond-based business with the bulk of people needing to use the tube to get into work. So we absolutely embrace it because it's the right thing for our customers and our business, and for the employees.
So is your business embracing the new technology, or are you sitting on the sidelines? I mean, there are businesses still out there that we talked earlier on about the different social media platforms who aren't using those, are not using CRM systems. I mean, there are businesses that are making it more and more difficult for themselves and not really embracing the technology that is available. We'll talk more in a few moments' time with Jason Downs, Managing Director of Power Now, the conference call service provider, about maybe how your office space and your office, the way you run it, can be changing over the coming years. That's still to come on this edition of Business Connections Live. It's great to have your company, as always, with us here on a Monday. We are live. Great to know that you're watching. Thank you very much indeed. Now, don't forget, if you're watching this and you're watching it on YouTube and you're saying to yourself, I really do agree with Jason, please do leave a comment under the programme. I mean, come back with your feedback by all means. If you'd like to, you can also email us here at studio at businessconnectionslive.com. Get in touch with us. We like talking to people. There's the email address. In fact, we'll give you all the details right now. If you just want to call us, telephone number 01784 256 777. And if you want to follow our stream of consciousness, then you can do that by simply going to Twitter at BCL Business TV. Incidentally, if you think you've got something that's worth saying and you want to find me on LinkedIn, please do that. You can either find myself, Steve Highland, or you can find Linda Bazant. You can follow us on LinkedIn, just link up with us. We're always open to conversations. We're always open to talk to people as well about what their businesses are doing. And maybe, who knows, you could well be a guest on the programme. Incidentally, if you are finding today's programme absolutely engaging and you're thinking to yourself, do you know, I'm loving this. This is really good. That Jason guy, he's a really interesting bloke, isn't he? Now, imagine if we had to try to relate that and put that down in writing, or maybe we use one of those awful whiteboard videos that people put on their websites. Why have a website full of text and make people read when you can have a whiteboard video and make people read? What we're saying is if you're finding this engaging, well, why don't you do it for your business? We've got a thing called Business Connections Live Direct. You can go to our website and find out more about it. It's a sales show for entrepreneurs and SMEs. You can come into the studio that we've got here. Just have a look at the old screen that's on my laptop here at the moment. There we go. Business Connections Live Direct. You can find out all the details about what we're talking about on this page. You can see some of the clients that have actually used this in the past. It gives you the opportunity to come into the studio and to use our studio as it is, but branded for your brand or your product. We can give it a different look. You can come in and you can make your own program. And the nice thing about that is you'll get about half an hour's worth of content or thereabouts that you can use on social media. You can use it across your marketing. If you put it on YouTube, you can actually have just little snippets that you send out to your client base. Interested in that? If you are, get in touch with us. Should we give the details again? Only if he's ready. It is. You can email us at studio@businessconnectionslive.com, and you can telephone us 01784 256 777, or if you wish you can follow us on Twitter at BCL Business TV. Great. Do that. I'm telling you, do it right now. And if you're enjoying today's program, give us a thumbs up on YouTube. And if you're watching on iTunes, thank you very much indeed. Our guest on today's show is Jason Downs, Managing Director of Powwow Now, the conference call service provider. We're looking at the technology that is out there and how it's going to benefit and how it's going to influence and change maybe the way you work. We kind of talked about how flexible working can successfully be implemented in the workforce. There will be people out there that are listening to this and they're going, yeah, but how do I keep tracks of them? How do I make certain that I am getting the full 100% attention from somebody? Is it just a case of trusting the people you employ?
Well, I think with any performance of employees, it's in terms of how you manage them, how you recruit them in the first place. Guess what? Those people who are lazy, aren't delivering output, regardless where they are probably the same people. So they're the same people who have a longer smoking breaks than you would like. Yeah, same people who are disengaged, same people who probably have a few more sick days than you would expect. And typically on a Monday morning, a high sick day. Are we all ill over the weekend? Probably not. It's that group of people that if you're worried about them, guess what? You'll make it worse if they're at home. But actually, is the problem them working at home or working in a coffee shop? And don't get flexible working just thinking it's home working. It's not. It's about having a more freedom, flexible way of people's hours, people's locations, not just home working. Two very different things. So you need to then, if you're worried about them, you've got a performance issue, full stop. Good people.
So maybe the problem's a bigger problem.
Absolutely. And it could be they're just disengaged in your business, and actually then you've got to look in the mirror and say, the business I'm running, the business I'm leading, I've got a disengaged group of employees.
Does it sometimes, if you implement systems like this, have you seen in the past, does it weed out the weak links that are in the system?
I think in terms of the managers it does, because if you can't manage people well when they're with you every day, guess what? You've probably got a bigger problem when they're not with you. Because actually, if we want to find out all the details, so I can just talk through one example of a recruitment firm we use, and when they talk about how they work, recruitment business historically in London wanted to expand into Manchester and to Paris, was worried about how they keep eyes on them, used one of our technologies called iMeet, and what they do when they review the pipeline, so the prospecting, all that information, be it from LinkedIn or wherever we've got it, and then into Salesforce or whatever system they're using, by being able to have those one-to-one video reviews, so we'd just be having a normal review that we could be doing in an office, or actually, well, why do I want to go to Paris every week for that and waste that time? We're doing the same meeting, we can see each other, we can share the screen, so I can see your Salesforce screen because I can share. I can send you some files and we can share some files, and all the technology's there, very low cost, very affordable for SMEs, and suddenly you're now running a business that has got multi-locations right for your target customer base, and actually you are as engaged and connected to those people, be it in Paris or if you're in together in your same office in Richmond.
What kind of, what would be your recommendation of the kind of cloud-based technologies that companies should be considering? If they're a small startup, obviously they're going to be, we would like to think that they're going to be talking about the conference call facility that Powwow Now do, but and also iMeet.
Yeah, iMeet is a video conferencing tool. That's how I'd look at it. So you can see people, you can share screens. They're the key things that our customers would use for if they want a more engaged meeting than just an audio conference call.
But what else? What are the other tools do you think they should be using? Is it the likes of Microsoft 365 and doing that kind of thing? So you're moving things away from it being something that is based on their PCs or their laptops, so that once again everything is operating cloud-based.
Yeah, I think if you embrace the idea that actually what you want is you want to be able to grow your business without fixed costs. So if that's your thought process, is I'm going to grow, I'm going to be a hugely successful entrepreneur, I'm going to rapidly grow my business, and then whatever that end state is, it might be your goal is to sell and retire before you're 50. It might be your goal is to do that and then start another business. What you don't want to do is have your fixed cost in your business. So absolutely, cloud-based systems enable you to do that. And actually, what you're trying to do is have a more portable group of people.
Do you think really with the technology that what we're doing, we're effectively downsizing the workplace that we've got? Do you think by doing that. A lot of people have an opinion. For instance, they walk into our studio. We've got a nice facility here. We've got cameras and everything, and it would be lovely to not have to be paying the rates, let alone the rent. Yeah. And there are all those benefits, of course, that you're going to be looking at. But to a certain extent, that also brings credibility to the business, and that physical presence does seem to be still very important to people. It's important to investors when they walk in. They feel that they've actually got something that is real, that is concrete, that they can touch, a tangible asset to the business. Can you sometimes destroy that by going a little bit too far, or do you think there is a happy limit that you will go to?
Literally, it always depends on your business, who your key target business is, and what business you want to become. So all I'm advocating is it's the balance again. Your business, it might be absolutely right to have the best office, 100% people in that office environment, and that's absolutely fine and the right way for you. What you can also use these tools and the technology for is to engage with your partners, so your agencies maybe in this example, so you've got a more engaged communication cycle because you're using modern technology to communicate very freely and very openly.
Are there any sort of tax implications or anything like that as well when it comes to people working at home or working remotely, both for the business and also for the individual as well? Are there advantages or disadvantages?
I'm not qualified to give the tax advice. I'm not. Literally, you've got to be careful in terms of what you set up with any of your employees and what you give. So it's important. A simple thing would be if you're buying them equipment.
Yeah. Is it perceived as an asset?
It's company equipment and it's not private equipment, because otherwise it's a gift. So there are some things to watch out, but again, I would use common sense. What does that individual need to be equipped and ready to work from whatever location? As I say, don't just think of it as home-based. Think of it as just giving people a bit more freedom to work and think and play.
I mean, you're a high-tech company or a high-tech business, so a lot of your value is in your intellectual copyright, your intellectual property that you have. Some people would always worry that they're actually putting that at risk a little bit. How do you protect things like that? How do you make is it once again down to the case of trust of your employees, that even though they're working remotely, that they're still secure, and how do you ensure that they're secure?
Honestly, you've got to just make sure that you've got the security systems in place to have the technology, but most of it is exactly the same. Yeah, in terms of where do you get your access when you're working remotely or at home, you've just got to lock certain things down. Again, depending on your nature of the business, it will depend how tight you lock certain things down and which people have access to it. You can control what people see and don't see.
When you're working with your team, then what have been for Powwow now? What have been some of the key benefits that you've seen? We've kind of looked at the top structure of it. We've said that it's engaging our employees. They don't come in at a particular time because they're more effective. You're probably getting more working hours out of them actually, because they are online at 9, and they're probably working right up until 6 because they're engaged with what they're doing. So, the real benefits are there. What are the other key benefits that you, as a managing director, have seen? And what are there any things that you would like to change from the way you're doing it? If you had it to do again, because you're relatively new. How old's the company again?
Just under 12 years.
But it's the big growth has been in the last couple of years.
Yeah, in the last 4 years we've been rapidly growing. Yeah.
So if you were to stand back, and I know you weren't there 4 years ago, but if you were to stand back and you were looking at it and go, right, 4 years, here's the plan that we're going to do. What do you think you would have implemented into the system to make it work better? And other things that you see businesses do that you think, that isn't, you're using the technology but not really properly or in the right way? That's a long question.
That is a long question. Yeah.
I can't remember what the beginning was.
I think in terms of helping people understand that flexible working isn't for everybody. So sometimes companies, and we've probably done that in the early days at Powwow Now, when we said, oh, of course, everyone can work like this.
Shut the offices down, you're all going home.
And actually, some people don't want to. So it's giving people the confidence to say, hang on, for me, this is the best way for me to work. I like coming to the office. I get loads of engagement with that. I like the structure of a 9 till 5 day. So don't fight that. Make it work for that individual. But also making sure that you have the technology available, because if you wear out the technology, the people are very remote and they're almost forgotten about. So they're excluded from meetings when actually you need their input, because actually they're the best person to have in the room that room doesn't have to be a physical room, it can be a remote room. But I would treat where you can, and small businesses is great because you can treat individuals like individuals, and that's how you should do. Is it right for you? Have I equipped you with the right things, and have I got that balance between the people connectivity and the systems?
Going back to a question we talked about earlier on, the 10, 20 years down, the change in the way the office space will look. I know there is one business that we have dealings with, and they have a small central office, but all their specialists are based around the world in different time zones, providing a service to their customers. Do you think that potentially, particularly when it comes to intellectual kind of products, so information technology, do you think that's the way it could end up going, that maybe the day of the big multinational, the multi-floor office block with hundreds of office space in there, hundreds of meters of office space in there, will actually disappear? We'll have empty tower blocks with everybody working in that kind of remote environment.
I think it is changing as we speak. There is still, and always will be, lots of big companies, lots of big buildings, there will be, but actually those that are fueling growth, particularly in Britain, are the smaller, more agile companies. We've got one of our IT partners in today from India, so they're over because we've been working with them for a year, but we've never physically met them. So they've wanted to get an understanding of our business more, so they've come over for a few days just to embrace themselves with us. But it's been great because in terms of our specific skill we were looking for them and the specific cost, it's substantially more effective to be able to use them as an outsourced partner in India than it would be to put that resource in-house. So that's just a recent example.
Obviously this programme was recorded in the and played out in the UK as well, for that matter. Do you think we're more resistant to this kind of work practice? For instance, your Indian partners, do they embrace this remote working more? Do the American partners, do they embrace it more? Or are we at the front, or are we at the back of the queue?
Probably like we usually are in Britain. We're not at the front, we're not at the behind, we're just queuing nicely in the top third is probably where I'd put it.
Yeah, so we are embracing it, which is all about. Listen, we'll talk more in just a few moments' time. Hope you're finding it really interesting. I mean, if you just sort of step back for a moment and you ask yourself, so where is your business? What is your business in? Are you using some of the technology, for instance, Jason's technology, the Powwow Now, are you using that conference kind of technology to talk to your customers and to your other employees? If you're not, maybe you should be considering that today. We'll be talking more to Jason Downs, Managing Director of Powwow Now, in just a few moments' time. Now, obviously, this programme is available all over the place. It's available on YouTube. Thank you very much if you're watching on YouTube. It's available on Roku. We'd like to thank you. So that means across the States, and also growing in the UK. We've got the iTunes downloads too. You can watch it on Vimeo. In fact, it's and also on local TV for that matter. Regardless of where you're watching it, please do come back to the website, have a word with us. Do leave your comments about the programmes. Do give us a bit of a thumbs up. Tell us what you think about the programme. Give us some feedback, and we love all of that because it allows us to engage. And this is a business community. It is all about engaging with you in the same way that you can engage with us. Now, obviously, our primary form of delivery, of course, is on YouTube. I'd like to thank all the boys and girls at Google and YouTube for doing such a splendid job of providing a free technical platform, which without any shadow or hesitation is probably one of the best in the world. Is it right for businesses? I've got my own views on that. If you're Nikki and Sammy and you're holding your breath for 30 seconds and that gets a huge audience, then the analytics are more geared towards that. If you do long form programming or you do business programming, sometimes the analytics don't play in your favour. But as a technical platform, YouTube is second to none. And if you are using YouTube to promote and market your products, if you're getting out there and you're using YouTube to inform, educate, and to let people know what you do, then it is a great platform for doing that on, as is Vimeo, but YouTube is superb. Now, there's a great tool, and we'd like to thank the guys at TubeBuddy for helping us bring the programme to you every week for free. This is TubeBuddy. Let's have a look. The premier YouTube channel management toolkit. It is sensational. sensational. Now, if you've had troubles when it comes to using YouTube to get the most out of your videos, to get them viewed, to get them watched, this comes with a complete suite of tools. It plugs into your Chrome browser and it allows you to do all sorts of different things. It allows you to do advanced video editing, obviously that's easy, but things like bulk copy annotations. So if you want to put together a marketing campaign across all your videos, we've got like 200 videos up online at the moment. If we want to do an annotation on all those individual videos, one click of a mouse and it's done using TubeBuddy. You've got video SEO tools for captions, search engine ranking, tag sorters, finding the right tags to promote your videos, also giving your videos life, launch dates, and also decease or when you want to take the video down. One click as well sharing when it comes to sticking it up on Twitter, but also on Facebook as well. Now, there used to be a link between Facebook and also LinkedIn. Not what we're talking about, between YouTube and Facebook. There used to be one link where you could download and load your videos up. Not anymore, that's gone. TubeBuddy will give you that as a free add-on. Now, if you want to find out more about it, you can simply go to our website. You'll find a link on our page. I'll just go to the home page. 1 second, caller, please. We'll be with you in just a moment. Down there, if you go to our home page and just work your way down the home page to here, you'll see there is a TubeBuddy link. If you follow that link, you get the opportunity to try TubeBuddy for free. Build a powerful YouTube channel recommended by us here at Business Connections Live. We think it's absolutely fantastic. If you want to find out more details, you can also go to the TubeBuddy website, which is tubebuddy.com. Fantastic tool if you're in the world of using YouTube to market your brand or your product. You're watching Business Connections Live. My guest on today's show is Jason Downs. He's the Managing Director of Powwow Now, the conference call service provider. If you are just joining us late, your 30-second water cooler pitch, Powwow Now is the
Europe's fastest growing conference call provider and helps businesses connect with each other wherever they are in the world.
And so two products predominantly, isn't it? There's the voice communications. Yep. There's also there's iMe, which is doing video conferencing. Companies like yourself, I mean, you've all eggs, couple of baskets. So what do high-tech companies like yourself do? Is it a case for you now to go forward and to diversify with the business, to grow the business in different areas, or will it always be in this area of making certain that businesses can communicate with each other?
I think if you think about what we try to do, we try and help that communication piece, the productivity piece and the cost saving piece. That's really what we do. At the moment it's through audio and some video. 5 years time it will be different. So what we're doing is we've got teams of people working on future products, trialing some things, making some mistakes. Many of them never reach the surface. I'm sure in 5 years time when we're on again we could talk to you about something very different that we've developed today.
Well, I was going to ask you, because I mean you're looking at it all the time and you've got the technology sitting in front of you. Where do you think this kind of technology will go? Do you think we've talked about what businesses today can do to increase their productivity by using that kind of facility, but do you think there will be a big game changer? Will the likes of yourself, will it morph into something bigger and different? Could it change the face of industry and the way that we do business?
Oh, literally, you can do anything. Could develop. If you look at some of the virtual reality software going on at the moment, so why couldn't we be having this conversation as completely virtual? So you would physically see me, but physically I'm not there. So there's a totally different way you could hold a virtual meeting. That could be 10 years, it could be 20 years, it could be never.
But when you look at it, are you surprised? I mean, there are many bits of... Both of us are iWatch users, and we kind of had the discussion outside. You said it brings the football results very quickly to you, and I said it's a fantastic piece of technology waiting for a fantastic problem to come along. I really enjoy using it. I think it's a bit of fun and it's great technology. But is there a danger sometimes that we go down the wrong track with the technology that we develop and we end up with a great piece of technology but with no real purpose to it?
I think your point there is technology can be fun and should be fun. So the fact that we're both enjoying this, it's fun. So what's wrong with that? not everything probably has to have absolutely a business purpose in mind. Many other devices are very business, very serious focus. If this is fun for this moment in time, then why not? I'm enjoying it. I think you are as well.
Are there lessons, do you think, we could learn as well when it comes to making certain that we don't end up getting completely immersed in business 24/7? Do we have to be careful about making certain that we have family time still and we have business time? Is there a danger that if we are all remote working, that's all we're doing is remote working?
I think actually we've all got to be careful of that, because there is a balance, and what we're trying to help is tools that enable you to free up time to do what you're most passionate about. So actually you take it the other way around by being a little bit more flexible, by using the tools. It might be that you're taking your kids to school. It might be that you're enjoying watching them play football at a different time of day. You catch the time up. I think you also have a balance with your organisation to work hard and to deliver results. So sometimes you need to have that. If I got some freedom here, I need to give back at a certain time. But you can turn devices off. Many people don't want to, but you can. We have a responsibility now to our customers that we want to be available for them, because if they want to reach us, want to know it, I want to know about it. So we have the tools to be there, but you've just got to intelligently use them. As I say, you can turn things off.
When it was introduced into the business, because you came from a very traditional organisation like Staples, when you came into Power Now and you've got a philosophy that allows remote working, what do the employees say about that? Do they embrace it, or do you sometimes get resistance from them where they feel uncomfortable with this kind of progress?
I think it's, again, goes down to the individual. So we have a culture where people are, freely speak out their ideas and say, no, I don't want to do that, that's stupid, it doesn't work for me. We say, fine,
Do it the way you want to do it.
Do it. Others, it's right for them. Why? We've got people we've acquired businesses and they live, 3 hours away from our office. We're not asking them to move house. We want to keep that talented individual engaged with us. So it does a great way. So people are not having to make those old choices of new job, new house. What do I do with my kids' schooling? It's, I know what I do. As I change job, when you don't need to, you can just allow people a bit more flexibility and freedom. But it's got to be right for your business, your culture, and your leadership style.
So in other words, be sensible.
Yeah, I look at some of the businesses I work to, and I spent probably 20 years up and down the country driving wasted energy, thinking because I've done a long out week I must have been productive. But I look back in hindsight and think, cool, I wish I had some of the tools we have now available to us. I would have been fresher. I would have therefore been thinking clearer at times, and I still would have done lots of face-to-face meetings, but I would have balanced it with a little bit more remote from my office at the time as well.
Doing what you do, it's interesting. Because what about the traditional side of business? You as an individual, Jason. Do you still go to networking events and things like that? Do you do keynote speaking? Do you go out and do the more traditional side of marketing of the business still, or do you rely completely on being able to use the technology?
I think in terms of what my parents have always said, what do? I do chatting. So I've always found that the best way to learn...
What do you want to do when you leave? Chat, whatever.
I've always found the best way to learn is to ask questions, meet people and talk to us. So there's lots of different ways to do that, be it formal business networking or informal. And if you ask people how they're working, what they're doing, what things are they looking for, you've got an idea about what people may want in the future. So I spend a lot of my time doing remote calls, video calls, and lots of face-to-face as well.
And statistically, if we can do this, very interesting. When you do video calls, and it's to a client, as opposed to, shall we say, just an audio call to a client, in your experience, what have you found to be the most effective, or is it a combination of both?
Typically, it's a stage process. So actually, in terms of some of the cold calling and the real initial prospecting, a good old-fashioned audio call is best, because you're not giving much away both parties. You're just trying to find some questions if there's any fit. Then they almost want to know a little bit more, so you want to show a bit more. And some of our technology is best demonstrated by video, a bit like interesting when you're talking about some of your TubeBuddy. That best way to demonstrate that is seeing it. So you can do that through screen share, or you could do that through a video call. And then it might be, actually, we're both getting on, there is a need, we found a problem you have and we think we can find a solution for you. So why not now spend a bit more time to learn about your organisation? Because if I come and see your business, we can learn about what else we can help you with. and sometimes that's best if you immerse yourself in your culture, your organisation. So you see how that just works up.
Yeah.
Other times it might be you've done a video call and actually your product's not right for them. So the best thing to do is walk away and say, it's not right for us. You're not right for us.
So
I'm not right for
fundamentally, do you think the technology will ever replace those basic skills, do you think?
I think those basic skills are now you need to work with the technology. I don't think anything's changed. It's just, you know, if you think about some of the LinkedIn stuff, that's still good old-fashioned letter writing, really. You've just got to do it in a different tone of voice because you're writing a different way, but it's still, you know, it's still words. A video call is still a face-to-face meeting. It's just not in person. It's just a mixture of what's right for your business, what's right for your customer at the right time. But don't use the technology as an excuse. It used to be an excuse because it was too expensive, unaffordable, but the technology is now available to embrace it.
You know, it's been an absolutely fascinating hour and it has flown by. We ask all our guests that come on the programme to look straight down camera number one, say who they are, where they're from, and to really give our audience the takeaways from today's programme. I hope you found today's show, I'm sure you have, I found it absolutely fascinating. It's been a real insight into how technology can change the face of the businesses that we operate in. I mean, for instance, we're surrounded here by technology, but could that change? I mean, could the whole thing just be done on
iMeet.
Could we just run the whole show on iMeet? Could we?
You could.
Damn it, that's it. Sell the camera, sell the studio. We're moving out. Okay, then, Jason, wrong answer. Straight down camera number one, who you are, where you're from, and the key takeaways that our audience need to have from today's programme.
Hi, I'm Jason Downs, the Managing Director from Power Now. We're Europe's fastest growing conference call provider. What we've talked about today is really just helping your business and you as an individual become more flexible by using all the tools that are out there today, be anything as simple as an audio conference call that always works and gives you absolutely clear audio, or be a more engaging video conference where you're wanting to share some files and share your screens. But it's also being able to do what's right for you and right for your employees and right for your customers. So please, all I've shared is what's worked for a number of our customers and also what's worked very successfully for Power Now. But it won't work for everybody, and it's important that you do what's right for your business at the right time. And I just applaud all the entrepreneurs out there too who are growing their business far quicker than some of the stuffy corporates that are still working to 9 till 5, are still doing command and control, and are not allowing people to express themselves in the way we should be in this day and age.
So there we are. If you're a stuffy corporate, you've just been told by Jason Downs, Managing Director of Power Now. But it's an interesting thought, no matter what size your business is, if you're a small SME, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a solopreneur, the way that we operate our business, sometimes, of course, the business will start, we grow, we then look about moving into office, and then we have to start employing people and bringing them on. And then you have all the other issues about where are you going to put them, why do you need to have them there? And a lot of people, of course, can be just as productive when they're not at you. With so much now based on the technology, for instance, everything happening nearly through the screen of the laptop or the PC, should you be thinking slightly differently to the way your business is operating? Maybe you can make it more effective, you can make it more efficient. It puts you into a situation, perhaps what you can do is you can then use service offices and the like that. It really is a different way of thinking about how your business operates. And I think today we'll give you just a little bit of food for thought. If you want to leave your comments, you can always go to our website at studio at Business Connections Live to tell us what you thought about today's program. And if you've got any questions for Jason, you can leave them there as well and we'll pass them on to Jason. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the program today. We'll definitely be signing up. And what's so nice about it is all about realising that the technology is there and going about and utilising that technology to make our own businesses more successful in an entrepreneurial way.
Absolutely.
Like
thank you, Steve.
Jason, thank you very much indeed for being with the program, and thank you very much for watching Jason on today's edition of Business Connections Live. And we do hope you've enjoyed the show. It's been a cracking show today, really enjoyed it, and we love the technology here. Let me tell you about who's coming up on the program over the next couple of weeks. On next week's show we have Stephen Altman-Richer. He's from the CBI. We're going to be talking about how the EU referendum may affect business here in the UK and whether it's going to affect it or not. Really, what do you reckon, in or out?
I float almost every other day, so undecided at the moment.
Really?
I need more information to make an informed decision.
And when you talk to maybe your compatriots in the European countries and also America, do they have a view or do they care?
They worry about the stability of being out. What would that do? But then they also don't quite understand what we get by being in.
Do you know, that's a really good question. I think a lot of people don't really understand. Anyway, that's next week. Stephen Altman-Richard, CBI, talking about the EU referendum. Coming up in the next couple of weeks, got Nigel Bottrell. He's going to be on the programme. Don't forget, if you'd like to be like TubeBuddy and sponsor the programme, you can do that. Just get in touch with us here at Business Connections Live. If you're watching in the Cambridge area, I hope you enjoyed this week's programme. You can always watch us on Cambridge TV, on Freeview Channel 8 and also Virgin 159. And that wraps up the show. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We'll be back live again next Monday at midday where we're talking to the CBI about the EU referendum. From Jason Downs and myself, Steve Hunt, have a great week. We'll see you soon. Till next week, bye for now. Bye-bye.